वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्ण प्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारिणे। This is very important chapter. Every chapter in Bhagavad Gita is important. Why? Because every chapter has the potential to connect us with Krishna. This is knowledge of the absolute. Bhagavad Gyan. So if we want to know the Supreme, then we must be having the knowledge of the Supreme. And how to receive the knowledge of the Supreme when we do not have knowledge of who we are? So it is only possible when we know from Him who is the source. And Bhagavad Gita is one such source, one such certain source through which we can know the Supreme Lord. We can know ourselves and we can know the Supreme Lord. Prabhupada says that all sort of incompleteness is there because of incomplete knowledge. And the human being can perform perfection if he receives complete knowledge. So the incomplete can become complete when he connects to the Supreme Complete. That is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So we are on the last section of this chapter of knowledge of the Absolute. So Krishna talks about in this chapter, there are various kind of seekers, various kind of men who have different levels of desires. In this principle, Krishna talks about 6 kind of people who approach Krishna. At least there are 6 levels. And everyone is approaching for a different aspiration. They don't have the same desire or the same goal. They have different goals. But all of them are approaching Krishna. So we have seen Krishna has discussed about 4 types of such people. Anyone remembers? What are these 4 people? Okay. Very good. Yes. Arthi. Who is Arthi? It is Artho. Who is Artho? 1 minute. नहीं चाहते तो सारे हैं चाहते तो 6 के 6 हैं. हाँ, that is called Artharthi. That is Artharthi, who is wanting some material desires or material pleasures or material gains. That is Artharthi. And what is the 4th one? Or rather the first one. Krishna says, Chaturvidha bhajante mam jana suklitano arjuna. First category is Artha. Artha means one who is in trouble, who has been hit or who is feeling suffering in this world. Artha, then Jigyasu, then Artharthi. And then Krishna also talked about Jnani. Yeah. But here Krishna will speak about another category. So the first 3 categories, they are all Sakam Bhaktas. They all have material aspirations. Jnani also, there are 2 types. Jnani, one is who has the desire for impersonal liberation. And there is one Jnani who is a pure devotee. So how many categories? 5. So Krishna will speak about the 6th category in this. So before that, Krishna says that no one knows him. the 26th verse. So this entire chapter is presented that what should be the right approach. Hmm? What kind of aspirations or practice we should have so that we can know the Supreme Lord. So in the 26th and the 27th verse, obviously Krishna spoke that mass of men do not know him. Most of the people can never know him. Why? Because he is Yogo Maya Savavritam. He is held behind the curtain of Yoga Maya. Those who are grossly foolish, they do not know me. But people may not know Krishna, but Krishna knows everyone. So this is the wonder. Whether they are, what happened to them in the past and what will happen to them in future. Everyone's history and future is known to the Supreme Lord. And Krishna said in the 26th verse, Mam tu Vedana Kashtana. But no one knows me. What is the reason people do not know Krishna? That Krishna explained in the 27th verse. In the 27th verse, he explained why mass of men are not able to know him. Because of their desire and hate. Because of their desire for what they like, and hate for their dislikes or aversions. So this creates what? Iksha and Dvesh, what it creates? Dvanda. Dvanda means duality. And from duality comes illusion. So one who is in illusion, one who is in duality, he can never know Krishna. Why? Because he is always bewildered. So how to come out of the bewilderment? How to come out of this confusion or illusion? And how to know Krishna? What is the qualification for a practitioner to come to the level of knowing Krishna? That is a beautiful verse which Krishna will explain in the 28th verse. Very powerful verse. Yesham tua antagatam papam jananam punya karmanam te dvandamo nirmukta bhajante mam dridavrata yesham tvantagatam papam jananam punya karmanam te dvandvamo nirmukta bhajante mam dridavrata yesham tva antagatam papam jananam punya karmanam te dvandvamo nirmukta bhajante mam dridavrata. Now your chance. Recite. Go ahead. Yesham tvantagatam papam jananam punya karmanam te dvandamo nirmukta drida vrata. Drida vrata. Drida means which is fixed. Drida means which is with full conviction. Drida, which cannot be shaken or changed. Bhajante mam drida vrata. Okay, repeat. Yesham tva antagatam papam jananam punya karmanam te dvandamo nirmukta drida vrata. Okay, anyone else? Yesham tvantagatam papam jananam punya karmanam te dvandamo nirmukta bhajante mam dridavrata. बोलिए.
Yesham tvantagatam papam
Yeshvam tvantagatam papam Jananam punya karmanam
te dvanda moha nirmukta
Te dvandamo nirmukta
bhajante mam dೃಢವ್ರತ
Bhajante mam dridhavrata. You would like to try? Any one of you? Recite.
Yesham tvantagatam papam
Yesham tvantagatam papam Jananam punya karmanam Te dvandamo nirmukta Bhajante mam dridhavrata. So see, in the previous verse, Krishna spoke that everyone is in delusion. Dvanda mohena bharata. And everyone is under the cover of illusion, sammoham. And here Krishna is giving the remedy or the solution that who can be free from dvanda and moha. Te dvanda moha nirmukta. Mukta means to be free. Nirmukta means to be completely freed. So who can be completely freed from illusion, delusion, dualities? Those who are antagatam papam. Those who have crossed or those who have been purified from all sinful reactions. Not only they have been purified from all sinful reactions, they have also performed punya karmanam. They have also performed profusely pious actions. So that means what? That one who is not performing pious action and who is performing sinful action, what will be his state? What will be his status? He will always be in moha and dvanda. And he will always be, he will never be mukta. He will always be baddha. So simple. Many times people say that those who commit sin, they enjoy. No, a foolishness. It is just a matter of time. So the principle is very clear. So those who are not performing the right activities, the prescribed activities, the pious activities, then they are performing sinful activities. And what is the result of performing sin? That they will always be in delusion. They will always be in bewilderment. They will never ever come to know what is the reality. So here Krishna is giving the qualification how to become nirmuktaha, how to be freed. And when one is matured or one has advanced to this stage of being uh, antagatam papam, then what he can perform? He can perform bhajate mam dridhavrata. Then his devotion, dedication to the Supreme Lord is fixed. Then there is no deviation, then there is no distraction, and then there is no possibility of any degradation. Very beautiful verse. Understood? Persons who have acted piously in previous lives and in this life. So both. So it has to be continuation. One who has acted in piously in previous life, he gets an opportunity to act in a pious way in this life. And whose sinful actions are completely eradicated. Not like, there is a process in the Christianity that from Monday till Saturday, you do whatever nonsense you want to do. And then Sunday, you go into the church and be in the confession box and pray to that you please release me of all this sin. And then from Monday, you start the same sinning business again. This is what people are thinking these days. For them, they can never be free from bewilderment. They can never be free from illusion. You explain to them in however, whatever way, they will never be able to understand anything beyond body. They will always consider that their identity is this body, or maximum their identity is their unstable mind. They cannot go beyond. Why? Because there is bewilderment. There is delusion. So unless and until one has acted piously, what it means to act piously? and what is to act sinful? What is the difference? What is punya and what is papam? Who will decide? What is the basis? What is the criteria?
Who follows the four rules that is in the
4 rules. What are the 4 rules?
Krishna's?
Yeah, simple dharma means to follow the uh, path of the Supreme Lord. Simple. So how do we know what Krishna wants? Through Bhagavad Gita? Simple. If we have not studied Bhagavad Gita, if we have not applied Bhagavad Gita in our life, then there is no possibility of acting piously. One may try whatever. So here Krishna is saying that persons who have acted piously in previous lives and in this life and whose sinful actions are completely eradicated, Krishna has already said, Aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshasyami masacha. That means one who is surrendering to Krishna. To the extent one is surrendering to Krishna, he is becoming free from what? Papa. Because Krishna will release one from all kind of sinful reaction. Are freed from the dualities of delusion. So they are freed from duality of delusion. What is the duality of delusion? Friend and enemy, like and dislike, heat and cold, yeah, victory and loss. So all this delusion, and they engage themselves in my service with determination. So how to become determined in practice of Krishna consciousness? Many times most of the students ask this, that they want to practice with determination, but they do not have the determination. Why they are lacking the determination? What is the reason of lacking determination? Yes, performing sinful activity. To the extent we are engaged in sinful activity, one cannot have a resolute determination. Krishna spoke in the 2nd chapter about resolute determination. What is resolute determination? Vyavasayatmika buddhi ekah kurunandana. Determination means that one has single point focus. What is our focus? Do we have focus? We actually have no focus. Whenever, whatever, wherever. Whatever we find which is appealing to us, attractive to us, we try to follow that. So Krishna is revealing here that when can one come to the qualification of performing a steady devotion, or when can one have the determination to follow without deviation? When one is antagatam papam, when one has been freed from sinful actions. Because if one has performed sinful action will bring sinful reactions. And that will not allow the person to progress in the path of self-realization. So Prabhupada says that those eligible for elevation to the transcendental position are mentioned in this verse. Elevation, you understand? Progress. Those who want to advance. For those who are sinful, atheistic, foolish, and deceitful, it is very difficult to transcend the duality of desire and hate. Only those who have passed their life in practicing the regulative principles of religion, as you said, those who have practiced their life in practicing the regulative principles of religion. What is the regulative principles of religion? That make one to come to the human platform. What are the regulative principles of religion? Yeah, first is ahimsa. Not creating violence for others. So what is the prohibition? If you want to practice this principle, regulative principle, what is the prohibition? How we can have non-violence to others, living entities? How can we practice? Yeah, that means we do not kill and eat anyone. Killing in the form of eating at least should be completely stopped. Sometimes people question, And okay, you are saying animal killing is sinful, but what about plant killing? Hmm? But if you take fruits and vegetables from the plant, do you kill them? Every season they bring more and more. Yeah. So they are made. The human nature has given them the lifespan in such a way that they are of service to other living beings. So we should be very intelligent that we should not commit any sinful act. We have to be very vigilant, very, very watchful. That knowingly or unknowingly, if we commit sin, then what will be the result? We will always remain in duality. We will always remain in bewilderment. We will never have the clarity that what is actually beneficial for me. That which is destructive for me, I will think it is good. And that which is actually good, I will think it is not good for me. Why? Because illusion will be there. So the first regulative principle is ahimsa. What is the second? What is the second regulative principle? I don't know. Because you don't practice. If you don't practice, see, very clear. Philosophy is not for speculation. Philosophy is for practice. If you practice, then you can never forget because you will get realizations. And if you only read and leave, you will never get any benefit out of it because it will not come into your consciousness. What is the second principle, regulative principle? Indiscipline? Discipline? That will not work. You see, this is to come to the human platform. Of course, discipline is there, but what is the essential principle of dharma? One is ahimsa. What is the second? Bolo? Huh? Yes, satya. Satya. Not to misrepresent or not to lie. It is sinful act. So how do we preserve this principle in our life? How do we practice truthfulness in our life? It is good. But whenever we are in a difficult position, what do we do? Do we observe the principle? No. We very conveniently misrepresent. So how to practice it? How to practice truthfulness in our life? What is the regulation? That we have to stop speaking lie. So we should be in a profession which is free from gambling and speculation. In gambling, what people do? Are they honest? They are all dishonest. So we should not take any profession or occupation or means of earning where we have to speak lies. So all kind of speculation, all kind of gambling, all kind of lottery and all this, what is all? And these days many, many other stock market and there are many chit fund and many, many ways. All what people do, they speak lies and they cheat each other. The more you are expert in cheating others, the more you try to make money. But that money will bring what?
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी।
For us. What is actually good for us. Otherwise, it is not possible. What is the third principle? You should write it down. If you don't bring copy, you will not remember. Next time, if I ask you for, hardly you will be able to say speak to. So we do not advise our students to take any occupation where you have to tell all lies. What is the third principle? Third principle for coming to the human platform?
Having sex outside marriage.
Yeah, that is the prohibition. So what it means? What is the principle? Principle is cleanliness. Clean. Yes. Cleanliness is next to godliness. You should be clean. Clean inside and also outside. It is called swakshta. Swaksh. So how to remain clean inside and outside? Outside we keep the mode of goodness prominent by keeping everything clean, spick and span. I am thank you. But still I can see some dirt today. I'm not clean today. You see? You wipe your hand here.
It comes from
It comes, so it has to be cleaned again. How many times you wash your face and hand? So cleanliness brings us to the mode of goodness. So external cleanliness and also internal cleanliness. Internally what we are thinking? Internally what is the contamination? Cleanliness, you understand? Cleanliness means free from contamination. Free from inside dirt. What is the dirt which is inside? We are always thinking how we can enjoy. And the man is thinking how he can enjoy the woman, and the woman is thinking how he can enjoy the man. You see, every second thought is imbued by this desire. So internal cleanliness means that we give up all kind of illicit connection. Illicit, you understand? What is illicit? Illicit means that which is not legal. Or that which is not authorized. Simple. That which is not authorized. So what is not authorized? Free mixing of men and women to enjoy sex. Then it will become like an animal society. In animal society there is no regulation. Is there any regulation? There is no regulation. There is no institution of marriage. So today's civilization have gone to, it has degraded to become like an animal species. And fourth is austerity. Austerity, tapasya. Human life is a life of austerity. In animal life or some other species life, there cannot be any austerity. Austerity means to keep oneself pure. Austerity. Tapasya. Tapasya. तपस्या क्या है? कि आप वही करें जो आपको कहा जाए. तो उसके लिए क्या प्रोहिबिशन है? नो इंटॉक्सिकेशन. इंटॉक्सिकेशन समझते हैं? ड्रिंकिंग, स्मोकिंग, ड्रग्स, टोबैको. जो आदमी इंटॉक्सिकेंट है वो तपस्या कर सकता है? नहीं कर सकता. तो ये 4 रेगुलेटरी प्रिंसिपल्स हैं. तो ये 4 रेगुलेटरी प्रिंसिपल्स क्या करते हैं? आपको ह्यूमन प्लेटफॉर्म पे लेके आते हैं एंड इट मेक्स यू बिकम प्योर. अगर आप इन 4 regulations का follow करते हैं तो then there is possibility that you will not commit any sin. If you don't commit sin, then naturally what you become? Free from sinful reaction. You become pure. So one who has become pure, so this is what Prabhupada is explaining here, that only those who have passed their life in practicing the regulative principles of religion, who have acted piously, and who have conquered sinful reaction. So if you are following this 4 regulative principle, then there is all possibility that you can conquer sinful reaction. Otherwise, day in and day out, what we will be committing? Sinful action. And by committing sinful action, what will be the result? Sinful reaction. Can accept devotional life and gradually rise to pure knowledge of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So this is the step-by-step progress. What is the first step? Is Antagatam Papam. That one has to give up on all sinful actions. Second, he has to act piously. What is that pious act? That one has to follow the regulative principles of religion. And if one follows the regulative principle of religion, then he can accept devotional service. Then he can accept devotional service. And one who accepts devotional service, then he can rise to the pure knowledge of Supreme Personality of Godhead. Otherwise, that is why people do not know Krishna. That is why Krishna says, Mam tu Vedana Kashtana. No one can know me. Why? Because no one is accepting these principles. One is not following. They are thinking that if we commit sin, we can be happy, or we can be happier, or we can enjoy this life. That is why, because of illusion, delusion. Then gradually they can meditate in trance on the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That is the process of being situated on the spiritual platform. If we come to this stage, if we practice all this process which is given, that we minimize our sinful action, we minimize our reaction of not committing sin, and we also act piously by following the 4 regulative principles, and we also perform devotional service. Then we come to the possibility of practicing Krishna consciousness. This elevation is possible. So how to do that? Now comes the practical aspect. Okay, now we have understood what is the process. What is step 1, step 2, step 3. But practically how to do it? How to make this happen? Prabhupada gives a very practical solution. He says that this elevation is possible in Krishna consciousness in the association of pure devotees. So if you come in association of a devotee, it will become automatic. What will become automatic? What the devotee will aspire you to perform? Punya karmanam. What he will prohibit you to perform? Papam. What he will engage you in performing? Devotional service. So what will be the result? You can become Krishna conscious. You will become Krishna conscious. For the association of great devotees, one can be delivered from delusion. So this is very powerful process. And what is the power coming from? Where is the power coming from? Association. Association. So if you remain in association, ultimately you will elevate. Of course you have to follow. It is not that you come and you leave. But you integrate it in your life. Accept the principle to apply. In the Srimad Bhagavatam 552, this is the verse, that if one actually wants to be liberated, Manoram Prabhu, open this verse 552. That if one actually wants to be liberated, he must render service to the devotees. Mahat Sevam Dwaram Ahur Vimukta. This is a very transcendental process. Transcendental, you understand? Transcendental means which is not material, which is not performed on the material platform. So what was mentioned in the previous paragraph is how can this process of elevation begin when one comes into the association of a devotee. Yes, Mahat Sevam Dwaram Ahur Vimukta Tamo Dwaram Yoshitam Sangi Sangam. Can you make the font a little bigger? Mahantaste Samachitta Prashantah Vinayava Sudrida Sadhuo Ye. The most important is Mahat Seva Dwaram Ahur Vimukta. Mahat Seva, Mahat means what? A pure devotee, a Mahatma. Who is a Mahatma? One who is following these principles. Mahatma is not by rubber stamp. Mahatma is one person who is following the other Mahatma. Simple. How one can become a Mahatma? By following a Mahatma. So here it is saying that if one actually wants to be liberated, he must render service to the devotees. So when one has come in association with the pure devotee, what he has to do? He has to render service. And how the service begins? By following him. Simply. If you accept his advice, you have to little bit come to the back side. He will open it. This is very important. How the service to the Mahatma begins? By following him, by abiding. Simple. It is not that you have to, go and massage his legs, or you have to wash his clothes, or you have to. That is also seva. But more important seva is to follow him, to follow his guidance or his instructions. That is, if one actually wants to be liberated, he must render service to the devotees. Mahat seva dwaram ahur vimukta. But one who associates with materialistic people on the path leading to the darkest region of existence. So, what one has to change? One has to change his association. Association from materialist person to come to the association of spiritualist. Because if we continue the association of materialist person means those who are not Mahatma, those who have no connection with Krishna, the Supreme Lord. So they are materialist. Those who have connection with Krishna, they are spiritualist. So, but one who associates with a materialistic person is on the path leading to the darkest region of existence. It is Tamodvaram. All the devotees of the Lord traverse this earth just to recover the conditioned soul from their delusions. It's very important. So, those who are representatives of the Supreme Lord, they are devotees. Why they are called the representative of the Supreme Lord? Because their mission is the same mission as the mission of the Supreme Lord. What is the mission of the Supreme Lord? Krishna explains his mission in Bhagavad Gita. What is his mission? What is the mission of Krishna? Why he comes? Why he appears?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Yes, बोलिए.
To call back to call back the souls to God, back to Godhead.
May I know your name? Who gave the answer? Sanjana?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay, Sanjana. Good. Happy to have you with us on this session. Yes, the purpose of all these representatives is to fulfill the mission of Lord and is to release everyone from suffering. Very simple. There is only one point program of the Supreme Lord and his representative to see that everyone becomes happy. How one can become happy? When one accepts this formula. What is the formula? Antagatam papam and jananam punya karmanam. And one performs pious activities and one gives up the sinful activity. And of course, it is dharma sansthapan. This is the dharma. Dharma is to give up sinful activity and to perform pious activity. So all the devotees of the Lord, they traverse the entire world with this one mission in their heart, to recover the conditioned soul from their delusion. They want their conditioned souls to be free from delusion or illusion or dvanda. How? By giving them this gift of Krishna consciousness. We see Srila Prabhupada, our founder Acharya, at the age of 70, he was a retired sannyasi in Vrindavan. He was doing his bhajan very well. He was writing books. But where was the need to take such a risk at the age of 70 without any resource? He traveled to US. What was the purpose? Only to free the people from delusion, from their suffering. The people, all of us, we got this gift of Krishna consciousness. If we would not have traveled, then ISKCON would not have been established. And if ISKCON would not have been established, then where was the possibility for all of us to study Bhagavad Gita? This one person took so much of risk and so much of inconvenience. Why? To make our living better. So such persons are called representatives of the Lord. It is called Vaishnava. We hear this word, Vani, na? Vaishnava tene kahiye peed padai jane de. One who knows the suffering of others. Why people are suffering? Because they are committing sin. And why people are committing sin? Because of ignorance. They don't have knowledge. And even after knowing, after having knowledge and still one commits sin, then he is demoniac. You understand what is demoniac? असुर. जानते हैं असुर किसे कहते हैं? असुर वो व्यक्ति है जो भी जानता है कि वो क्या कर रहा है, गलत कर रहा है, लेकिन फिर भी करता है. So to give up this demoniac tendencies and to become devotee of the Lord, so these Mahatmas, they travel all over the world to preach, to give the gift of Krishna consciousness, to bring people to nearer to Krishna. The impersonalists do not know that forgetting their constitutional position as subordinate of the Supreme Lord is the greatest violation of God's law. So every living entity is having connection with the Supreme Lord. Every living entity. Krishna says that Mame Vamsho Jiva Loke Jiva Bhuta Sanatana. Whether in perfect stage or in imperfect stage, the connection is always there. In perfect stage, the connection is revived, and in imperfect stage, the connection is covered, but it is never lost. So
What is this perfect stage and perfect stage?
Simple. Perfect stage is when the connection with the Supreme Lord is revived, when it is clear. When we are in Krishna consciousness, we are performing actions as per Krishna's direction. That is perfect stage. And what is the imperfect stage? When the connection is covered. I feel I have no connection with Krishna. It is my life, and it is my free will. I will do what I like. What is our position? Former or later? From lost condition we are trying to revive. From imperfect stage we want to come to the perfection stage. The perfection stage is a representation of Srila Prabhupada. Why he took so much of risk? He went there to the Americans. He had heart attack. But he never thought of coming back. And let me come back. Why should I die in America? Let me die in Vrindavan. Why he took so much of risk? Why he did all so much of hard work? Hardships he had to face. Why? Because he was imperfect. He was seeing the suffering of others. We do not see the suffering of others. What we see, what others are enjoying. And why I am not able to enjoy. So here a very important technical point is being said, that the impersonalists do not know that forgetting their constitutional position as subordinate to the Supreme Lord is the greatest violation of God's law. So impersonal is another category of people. Impersonalists, you understand? Who do not accept that the Supreme Lord is person. They consider that the Supreme Lord is impersonal. Like someone says that sun is light. Sun is light. That is true. But light is not sun. Is every light sun? No. The sun emanates light, but it also emanates energy. And it also has its planet. And there is a person who is ruling that planet. Krishna explains in Bhagavad Gita. Who is the person? Huh? Vivaswan. Suryadev, we say normally Suryadev, but he is a person. He is Vivaswan. Krishna first spoke Bhagavad Gita to Vivaswan.
Suryadev,
Vivaswan. Yeah, open 4th chapter, first verse. Krishna first gave this knowledge to him. Imam vivasvate yogam proktaman aham abhyayam vivaswan manave prahur manurikshava ke. Why don't you help him? He is the first newcomer person who has come. Busy in your own finding out. 4.1. So the greatest violation is not to accept the Supreme Personality in his personal form. If somebody says ISKCON, but ISKCON has a person face. Devotees are there, representatives are there. If you come to ISKCON, what inspires you is your interaction with the devotees. So even if there is an institution has its personal feature and also the impersonal features. Yeah. So if one thinks that the Supreme Lord has no personal form, he is impersonal or is just light, then it is the greatest violation. Then what we are doing? We are denying the existence of the Supreme Lord. Unless one is restrained in his own constitutional position, it is not possible to understand the Supreme Personality or be fully engaged in his transcendental loving service with determination. So this is the principle what is being explained here, that one has to be reinstated in his constitutional position. I'll give you an example. What is the constitutional position? You see, what is the constitutional position of water? If I may ask, what is the constitutional position of water?
hydrogen and oxygen.
Huh?
Hydrogen and oxygen.
No, it is liquidity. The constitutional or the natural position, let us say, constitutional position is also the natural position of the water is liquidity. If you heat the water, if you rise the temperature, what it becomes? Vapor. But as soon as the vapor comes in contact with normal temperature, it converts again into water. If you minimize the temperature, take it sub-zero, what the water becomes? Ice. But as soon as the ice comes to the normal temperature, it again converts into water. So in any case, the constitutional position of water can never be changed. As soon as it comes into the natural position, it will become liquid. And does it have any meaning? If water is not liquid, is it water? Similarly, all the living entities, all of us, we all have our eternal connection with Krishna, with the Supreme Lord, the Supreme Father. And how this connection is established? This connection is established through service. Service. When we render service to the Supreme Lord, then this connection is revived. If you see all our relationship in this material world also, how this relationship is developed or how it is lost, it is through the means of service. If you have a friend also, whom you consider your best friend? Who takes care of your likes and dislikes? What you like, if he offers to you, consider him good, isn't it? What does friendship mean? That their likings are similar, isn't it? So what the friend has to do? He is in a way serving you. And if a person serves you, you like him. You express your love and affection towards him. Same you see with your parents. First the parents serves their sons and daughters, and later the sons and daughters serves their parents. Right? Yes or no? So the relationship, the fundamental basis of every relationship is what? Service. And if you stop service, if your friend says that you please come and help me, I am in need, and you say no, I am busy. I will come some other time when I have time. Then what will be the impact on the friendship? Gradually that friendship will become weak and it will be lost. Similarly, our relationship with the Supreme Lord is that we are all subordinate to Him and we are meant to serve Him. You see, if you see this entire world, the woman is maximum experiencing happiness when her husband is happy. The mother is experiencing maximum happiness when the child is happy. The child is experiencing maximum happiness when the parents are happy. You try. In our case, when we say our own way or our own way, what will be satisfied? Ego may be satisfied. But we will never experience the joy in the heart. That is what the entire modern man is experiencing. It is all artificial. There is no joy in the heart. Why? Because there is no relationship. And relationship is built on the base of service. And service means it has to be selfless. It not be selfish. Then it is not service. If it is selfish, then what it is? What it is called? Not sakam karma. It is sakam karma. But then it is business. It is business. In business, where you have the give and take relationship, then you cannot experience joy. So here Prabhupada is explaining here that unless one is reinstated in his own constitutional position, it is not possible to understand the Supreme Personality or to be fully engaged in his transcendental loving service with determination. So what is that service? Service is to accept the authority of the Supreme. And how service begins? By chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So if we are actually serious and sincere to begin this service, we must begin chanting. And not allow our mind or non-devotee circle or non-devotee influence to come in between. Because as we said, two things were mentioned here, that one who associates with materialistic people is on the path leading to darkest religion of existence. And one who associates with the devotee, his progress has begun. So then now Krishna will speak about, I want to complete this chapter today, that there is one more type of practitioner who has mixed intention. He approaches Krishna, but he approaches Krishna with a desire. What is that desire? 29th verse. Jara Marana Mokshaya Mamashrita Yatantiye Te Brahmtad Vidu Krishnam Adhyatmam Karma Chakhilam Jara Marana Mokshaya Mamashrita Yatantiye Te Brahmtad Vidu Krishnam Adhyatma Karma Chakhilam. These are a special category. What is their aspiration? Jara Marana Mokshaya. They want to be freed from the influence of Jara. Jara means old age, and Maran means death, and Moksha means liberation. They want to be liberated from old age also, and they want to be liberated from death also. And what they are doing? Mam Ashrita Yatanti. They are taking shelter of the Supreme Lord and they are making attempts and endeavors. So such persons, they are qualified to Te Brahm Tad Vidu Krishnam. They can come to the Brahman platform. What is the Brahman platform? What is the Brahman platform? Jai Shri Prabhu.
They know that they are not this body.
If they are not this body, then they are.
Spiritual.
Then
Eternal.
that means they are free from death.
Full birth and death.
There is no death. And then there is no old age. If one has realized that he is not this body, so the body takes birth and body dies. He is not the body. So he has surpassed. He has surpassed the suffering of old age and disease and death. Because he has realized he is not his body. So te Brahma Tad Vidu Krishna. They can also know what is Adhyatma. Adhyatma means what is spiritual. That is why most of us do not understand anything spiritual. Why? Because we are not on that platform. We are not on the platform of Adhyatma. We are not on the platform of Brahma. And they also know everything about karma, akhilam, entirely. Here, see the verse. Intelligent persons who are endeavoring for liberation from old age and death take refuge in me in devotional service. Jara Marana Mokshaya Mam Ashrita Yatanti. So they take shelter of Krishna and they perform devotional service also. They are actually Brahman because they entirely know everything about transcendental activities. So this is another type of practitioner. In this chapter first type was Artha, one who is distressed. Second type was Jigyasu. Third type was Artharthi. They are all Sakam Bhakta. But this practitioner also has a desire. Now what is the desire? Jara Marana Mokshaya. So this is the fourth kind of Sakam Bhakta. It is called Moksha Mixed Bhakta. Moksha Mishra Bhakti. His endeavor is not to attain Krishna, but his endeavor is to be free from the pangs or the sufferings of old age and death. Very painful. Old age is very, very painful. You become completely helpless. There is nothing much you can do. You have to suffer. When Gautam Buddha, he came out of his palace for the first time, what he saw? He saw a lady who was hunchback. Hunchback समझते हैं? कुबड़ा. He asked his charioteer, what is this? And he said, it is a hunchback. In the old age, what will happen? That you cannot be straight. Then he went ahead and he saw someone else who was coughing and spitting blood. He said, what is this? This is disease. And then he further walked and he saw that 4 people were carrying 1 person. 4 persons were carrying 1 person. He said, what is this? That this person has experienced death. And he asked, this will happen to me? That of course. This happens to everyone. Then what he did? He said, stop the chariot here. I want to win over all this. I don't want to face all this. So immediately what he had? Realization. Immediately he attained realization. But in our case, again and again, every day we are seeing But what we are thinking? That this will never happen to me. That is why what is written? Intelligent persons. So, intelligent person can see. But those who are less intelligent or who have no intelligence, even if they are shown, they will not accept. The intelligent person who are endeavoring for liberation from old age and birth take refuge in me in devotional service. This is the fourth category. This is Moksha Mishra Bhakta. And of course Krishna spoke about the other category which is Jnana. Artho Jigyasi, Artharthi and Jnani. So Jnani is Jnana Mishra Bhakta. And this is Moksha Mishra Bhakta. And also there is Shuddha Bhakta. Shuddha Bhakta Krishna spoke in first chapter, first verse. Maya Sakta Manapasa. There is no birth, old age and disease for the spiritual body. The one who attains the spiritual body, he becomes one of the associates of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and engages in eternal devotional service is really liberated. So one who is spiritually elevated, he can know that he is not this body. So he is free from the fear of death. What is the greatest fear in this world? Death. But it is for whom? Those who are in ignorance. Those who are not having this knowledge that they are not this body. And why they are in ignorance? Because they have no realization. They have no experience. Aham Brahmasmi, I am spirit. It is said that one should understand that he is a Brahman, a spirit soul. This Brahman conception of life is also in devotional service, as described in this verse. The pure devotees are transcendently situated on the Brahman platform and they know everything about transcendental activities. Four kinds of impure devotees who engage themselves in the transcendental service of the Lord achieve their respective goals. And by the grace of the Supreme Lord, when they are fully Krishna conscious, they actually enjoy spiritual association with the Supreme Lord. But those who are worshippers of demigod never reach the Supreme Lord in His supreme planet. Even the less intelligent Brahman realized persons cannot reach the supreme planet of Krishna known as Golok Vrindavan. Only persons who perform activities in Krishna consciousness, Mahamashrita, are actually entitled to be called Brahman, because they are actually endeavoring to reach the Krishna planet. Such persons have no misgivings about Krishna and they are factually Brahman. So Brahman means one who is realized that he is spirit soul. And how one can become realized? When he engages in devotional service, not otherwise. Those who are engaged in worshipping the form of Archa of the Lord and who are engaged in meditation of the Lord simply for liberation from material bondage also know by the grace of the Lord the purport of Brahman, Adi Bhut, etc., as explained by the Lord in the next chapter. So Krishna is giving new terms. First he gave Brahma, then he says Adhyatma and Karma. So he will introduce few more terms. I will complete this chapter. Sadi Bhutam Adi Devam Mam
Adibhutam Adhidevam Mam
Sadi Yagyam Chaye Vidhu
Sadhyagyam Chaye Vidhu
Prayan Kale Api Chamam
Prayanakale Apicha Mam
Te Vidhu Yukta Chetasa.
Te Vidur Yukta Chesasa.
For the first time Krishna is speaking these terms. So he says what they know. Previously he said Mam Ashrita Yatanti. Those who are Mam Ashrita, those who have taken my shelter and they are endeavoring. So what is the result or outcome? Te Brahma Vidhu Krishna. They know that they are Brahman. They also know about Adhyatma. Adhyatma Karma means the spiritual activities. They know these spiritual activities. Also they know these, what Krishna is speaking here. They also know Sa Adhibhutam. That what is this? Adhibhut. Adhibhut means this entire cosmic creation. Do we know this entire world, material existence? Does any scientist know? He may know only a fraction of it. And the next scientist come and prove that he knows wrong. His knowledge was all false and wrong. He will come and justify that I know what is right and what he knew was all wrong. And few years later, whatever he says is right now will be proved wrong. Why? Because they are not adhibhuta. They are not knowing. So this is the third term, adhibhuta. Then he says adi devam. What is the adi devam? Devam means the demigods. Demigods. So who are these demigods and how they are functioning, how they are governing the administration of this cosmic manifestation. And they also know the Adi Yagyam. Adi Yagyam means the governing principles of sacrifice. And what they are able to do? Pryan kale apichama te vidur yut chetasa. They can understand and know me, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, even at the time of death. So how they are able to remember the Supreme at the time of death? Very important. Because when he is able to remember the Supreme Lord at the time of death, that means he is liberated. He does not have to take birth again. Persons acting in Krishna consciousness are never deviated from the path of entirely understanding the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In the transcendental association of Krishna consciousness, one can understand how the Supreme Lord is governing principle of the material manifestation and even the demigods. So the Supreme Lord is the Supreme Proprietor, the Supreme Controller, Supreme Enjoyer, and He has empowered His representatives. For the material management, who are the empowered people? The demigods. All the demigods are empowered for this cosmic manifestation. So, ये प्रकृति है. Everything what we see, where did we get? From nature. And nature, is it controlled or is it independent? It is not independent. It is controlled. If it would be independent, sun will rise one day and the sun will not rise one day. ऐसा है? Sun never fails to rise. It will have, everything is in harmony. Everything is in perfection. The seasons change. After winter, what you will have? Spring. And then you will have summer. And then you will have monsoon. And then you will have autumn. And then you will have winter. कभी साइकिल चेंज हुआ? कभी ऐसा हुआ? कि समर के बाद सीधे रेनी आ गया, मतलब जब विंटर आ गया? नहीं हुआ. इसका मतलब क्या है? भगवान बताएंगे जब वी कम टू द 9th chapter that मया अध्यक्षेन प्रकृति सूयते सचराचरम्. You see, anything which is man-made, it is never perfect. अभी कुछ दिन पहले कुछ ऐसा हुआ, अमेरिका में हुआ, शायद कहाँ हुआ कि एक प्लेन जा रहा था दूसरे प्लेन से टकरा गया. अमेरिका में स्काई में कितनी जगह है, कितने प्लेन जा सकते हैं एक साथ? कितने? हाँ, जितने प्लेन आज तक ह्यूमन रिसोर्स ने बनाए हैं, वो कितने इसके स्काई का स्पेस लेंगे? हाउ मच परसेंटेज? 1% भी नहीं लेंगे. हाँ, उसके बाद भी टकरा गए. और कितने प्लैनेट्स फ्लोट कर रहे हैं गैलेक्सी में, जानते हैं? हाउ मेनी प्लैनेट्स आर फ्लोटिंग इन गैलेक्सी? पता है? नहीं पता है? ज्योग्राफी पढ़ा है? हाँ, अनलिमिटेड. कभी हुआ दो का पोल्यूशन हो गया? हाँ, कभी अर्थ टकरा गई किसी और प्लैनेट से और सारे के सारे लोग नाश हो गए? कभी हुआ? गाड़ी तो रोज टकराती रहती है रोड पे. कितने, हाउ मेनी पीपल डाई इन एक्सीडेंट वर्ल्ड ओवर? मिलियंस एवरी ईयर. व्हाई? बिकॉज दिस इज क्रिएटेड बाय द गॉड. इट इज इन परफेक्ट ऑर्डर. Gradually, by such transcendental association, one becomes convinced of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And at the time of death, such a person, such a Krishna conscious person, can never forget Krishna. Naturally, he is then promoted to the planet of Supreme Lord Golok Vrindavan. This 7th chapter particularly explains how one can become a fully Krishna conscious person. The beginning of Krishna consciousness is the association of persons who are in Krishna consciousness. So how to know the Supreme Lord? is when we come in association with the devotees. If you come in association with the devotee, that means your elevation has begun, your progress has started. Such association is spiritual and puts one directly in touch with the Supreme Lord, and by grace one can understand Krishna to be the Supreme Personality of Godhead. At the same time, one can really understand the constitutional position of the living entity and how the living entity forgets Krishna and becomes entangled in material activities. By gradual development of Krishna consciousness in good association, the living entity can understand that due to forgetfulness of Krishna, he has become conditioned by the laws of material nature. He can also understand that his human form of life is an opportunity to regain Krishna consciousness and that it should be fully utilized to attain the causeless mercy of the Supreme Lord. So this is how one can know the Supreme. So it is all detailed here. So he is saying many types of people approach me, but that is why Krishna says that among all these type, that one who is situated in knowledge. Udara sarve evete jnani tva atma eva vematam. And then he says bahunam janmanam ante jnanvan mam prapadyate. So if we come in association with the person who is in knowledge of Krishna, gradually what he will do? He will remove all sinful activities of our life. He will engage us in devotional service. And with the devotional service, one can know himself and one can know the Supreme Lord. And one can revive his relation with the Supreme Lord and achieve the perfection of human life. What he can realize? That he is not this body. He can realize he is not this body, he is also not his body. He is beyond both. He is spiritual. He can come to this spiritual platform. And when one comes to the spiritual platform, then one has achieved a deathlessness. Because death is only when one is on the material platform. Many subjects have been discussed in this chapter. The man in distress, the inquisitive man, and the man in want of material necessities. Knowledge of Brahman, knowledge of Paramatma, liberation from birth, death and disease, and worship of the Supreme Lord. However, he who is actually elevated in Krishna consciousness does not care for different processes. He simply directly engages himself in activities of Krishna consciousness and thereby factually attains his constitutional position as an eternal servitor of the Lord Krishna. In such a situation, he takes pleasure in hearing and glorifying the Supreme Lord in pure devotional service. So how the progress begins? That when one comes in the association, and what he has to do in the association? Hearing. Hear. What we are doing? Coming in association, what we are doing?
Hearing.
Hearing. This is pure devotional service. We are actually hearing, and from whom we are hearing? From Krishna. We are hearing directly from Krishna. So he takes pleasure in it. How do we know that we are making progress? That one starts taking pleasure in hearing. How we can know that we are in a conditioned state or we are continuing to commit sin? That there will be no taste for hearing. You will call, please come, class is there. He will say, yes, I will come, but he will not come. Why? Because he is thinking there is pleasure outside. The Prabhupada is speaking here. He takes pleasure in hearing and glorifying the Supreme Lord in pure devotional service. When one is performing pure devotional service, he is free from papam, then only he will find pleasure in Krishna. Otherwise, one who is in papam, where he will find pleasure? In Maya. Maya will be more attractive than Krishna. He is convinced that by his doing so, all his objectives will be fulfilled. This determined faith is called Dhrida Vrata and is the beginning of Bhakti Yoga or transcendental loving. That is the verdict of all scripture. The 7th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita is the substance of that conviction. Thus end the Bhakti Vedanta purport to the 7th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavad Gita in the matter of knowledge of the Absolute. Hare Krishna. We will discuss these terms that we just read here. What is Brahma, what is Adhyatma, what is Karma, what is Adi Bhut, what is Adi Dev, what is Adi Yajna. Arjuna will ask questions in the 8th chapter. Okay? If you have any questions or doubt, please ask. If there is any confusion, any doubt, please ask.
इस previous वाले verse में है कि अगर
हाँ माँ माश्रिता यतन्ति, हाँ तो अभी इम्प्योर स्टेज है, अभी इम्प्योर स्टेज है, क्योंकि जो डिवोशनल सर्विस का जॉय है उसका एक्सपीरियंस नहीं हुआ है। हाँ अभी लोअर स्टेज पे है ना, वो अभी क्या सोच रहा है कि मेरा प्लेजर कैसे होगा कि मुझे दुख से निवृत्ति हो जाए। सुख की सीमा क्या है? दुख निवृत्ति। वो क्या सुख की सीमा है? सुख की सीमा क्या है? जिसमें आपको आनंद का अनुभव। दुख निवृत्ति में आनंद का अनुभव तो नहीं होगा। दुख निवृत्ति तो किसके लिए? जो डिस्ट्रेस है वो क्या सोचता है? बस दुख की निवृत्ति हो जाए। वो आते हैं कृष्णा कॉन्शियसनेस में, दुख की निवृत्ति हो जाती है, उसके बाद वो चले जाते हैं, क्योंकि उनका गोल वहीं तक था। उनकी कॉन्शियसनेस कहाँ तक थी? वहीं तक थी। तो इसलिए डिवोशनल सर्विस में क्या बताया? सबसे इंपॉर्टेंट क्या है? एसोसिएशन। एसोसिएशन ऑफ अ डिवोटी हु इज एडवांस। So what he will do? He will expand your consciousness. And when you are practicing Krishna consciousness, you can experience that joy of devotional service. Once you experience that joy, Krishna says, Param Drishtva Nivritti. If you get a higher taste, then you cannot settle for lower taste.
higher taste क्या है?
वो higher taste Krishna consciousness है। अभी बताया ना, one who takes pleasure in hearing and glorifying. हमें यहाँ आप क्या देते हैं? हम यहाँ आते हैं आपके पास, अपनी गाड़ी से आते हैं, अपनी गाड़ी से जाते हैं, आपसे कुछ लेते हैं? हम क्यों आते हैं? हाँ, हमें we take pleasure in hearing and glorifying. We get an opportunity to hear and share Bhagavad Gita and to inspire others to connect Krishna. This is the joy. Why did Srila Prabhupada go to America? Americans ने कुछ दे दिया क्या? उन्हें कुछ चाहिए था? But he wanted to give them Krishna consciousness. The joy that he was experiencing in his heart. अरे अभी तो लिखा ना, हाँ, 28th verse में हमने पढ़ा था ना, 28th verse में the devotees of the Lord traverse. प्रभुपाद जी लिख रहे हैं, नहीं ना, all the devotees of the Lord travel with us just to recover the conditioned soul from their delusion. Why settle for less? जो व्यक्ति नशा करता है, one who is addicted to drugs, what is he thinking? Where is the joy? In drug. But are we also thinking that there is any joy in drug? What we are thinking? There is suffering in drugs. One who is drinking alcohol, what is he thinking? That the greatest joy is in alcohol. But what we are thinking? What is our understanding? That how can it give joy? It will destroy your health. It will destroy your liver. You will suffer. So that person is in ignorance. So as we practice, that is what deeply बताया ना, पूरा process बताया. When one comes in an association, what happens? His sinful activity will be stopped and his pious activity will begin. And when one sinful activity has stopped and pious activity has begun, what he can be engaged in? Devotional service. And if he is engaged in devotional service, then he can experience Krishna consciousness. Then he can know and then he can have this taste of Krishna coming in his life. That is the highest taste. But then one has to follow the process. One has to follow the regulative principles. That is minimum. Okay?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes, Hare Krishna. बोलिए.
One question, you said that demonian nature is that कि जब हम जानते हैं कि गलत है फिर भी करते हैं, तो वो डेमोनियन नेचर तो मतलब ऑफ कोर्स है मुझ में, तो वो कैसे सुधरेगा? मतलब वो उस टाइम कुछ कंट्रोल नहीं होता, पता है गलत है, बस कर रहे होता है.
ये कैसे सुधरेगा? सिंपल. जब हम अपने जो जीवन है उसको अंडर गाइडेंस रखते हैं। अर्जुन के साथ भी यही समस्या थी ना। वो जान रहा था कि अगर वो युद्ध करेगा तो धर्म का निर्वाह करेगा, लेकिन धर्म का निर्वाह क्यों नहीं कर रहा था? क्योंकि उसका अटैचमेंट था किसके साथ? हाँ, भीष्म के साथ, उसके ग्रैंडफादर के साथ और उसके गुरु द्रोणाचार्य के साथ। लेकिन how was he able to come out of that attachment? Because Krishna was there. And how he could take advantage of Krishna? Because he accepted the advice of Krishna. कृष्णा ने एडवाइस दुर्योधन को भी दिया था। उसको डिमोनियक कहते हैं और अर्जुन को डिवाइन कहते हैं, क्योंकि फर्क क्या था? अर्जुन ने एक्सेप्ट किया और दुर्योधन ने क्या किया? रिजेक्ट किया। तो हम धीरे धीरे जो हमें कंसल्टेशन दी जाती है, जो गाइडेंस दी जाती है, जो एडवाइस दी जाती है, उसको एक्सेप्ट करें, वेदर वी लाइक इट और नॉट, बिकॉज इट इज फॉर आवर गुड, फॉर आवर बेनिफिट। अब जैसे बच्चा स्कूल भेजा जाता है, जब बच्चे को स्कूल भेजते हैं माँ बाप, तो वो क्या करता है? जाता है स्कूल। अब स्कूल चली गई थी पहले दिन की, चलो स्कूल जाओ। बच्चा रोता है ना, हाँ, कितना झगड़ा करता है, लात पैर मारता है, बस्ता फेंक देता है, हाँ, फिर बाद में बहाने बनाता है, मेरे सर में दर्द हो रहा है, पेट में दर्द हो रहा है, ये हो रहा है, तो माता पिता छोड़ देते हैं। हाँ, तो इसलिए वी नीड टू हैव समवन हु कैन हेल्प अस कम आउट ऑफ आवर डिमोनियक, एंड दिस इज एक्चुअली कॉल्ड डिसोबीडियंस और रेबेलियन। जितनी कंडीशनिंग ज़्यादा है उतनी रेबेलियस नेचर या उतनी डिसोबीडियंस ज़्यादा है। So what we need a help, we need a guide. And when he gives us the advice or direction, then we follow him, whether we like or whether we dislike. And if we do that, then gradually our nature changes. Like Arjuna's nature changed. क्या चेंज हुआ? अर्जुन का रिलेशनशिप चेंज हो गया था क्या भीष्मदेव के साथ या द्रोण के साथ? क्या चेंज हो गया था? उसका माइंडसेट चेंज हो गया। उसने क्या कहा? करिष्ये वचनम तव। ना योर स्थिति गोविंदा से उसका जो माइंडसेट है वो चेंज हो गया और बोले करिष्ये वचनम तव, जो आप कह रहे हो मैं वही करूंगा। पॉसिबल है या नहीं संजना?
यस सर।
हाँ, सर कहाँ से आ गए? हाँ, अभी आप कर रही हो ना? आपने मुझे प्रॉमिस किया था कि मैं ऑनलाइन सुनूंगी, हाँ, तो आप सुन रही हो। बस जस्ट कंटिन्यू दिस, जस्ट कंटिन्यू दिस। आई कैन गारंटी यू वन थिंग, इफ यू कंटिन्यू टू हियर, if you continue to hear with attention and with respect, gradually you will see genuine aspiration will come from the heart to follow. And the day the aspiration comes, Krishna is there seated in the heart as the super soul. He will enable. He is just waiting because Krishna does not interfere in our free will. जब तक हम चाहेंगे नहीं, He will not force. और जिस दिन हमने चाह लिया, तब तो फिर भगवान हमारे ऊपर He will, profusely give us the opportunities and blessings so that we can come to Him. Okay?
थैंक यू प्रभु जी। हरे कृष्णा।
I gave you example of Pradeep Prabhu, na? He is there. Huh? Whether he was in Korea, whether he was in China, now he is in Bangalore, wherever he goes. But he is Dhrida Vrata. He is determined. In so many years, almost nearly how many years, Pradeep Prabhu? Nearly 5 years? At least 5 years. He never misses any class. It is not easy. There are so many compulsions, there are so many attachments, there are so many attractions. But if this Dhrida Vrata is there, gradually Krishna will be pleased and he will remove all obstacles. When we will come to the 12th chapter, 10th chapter, Krishna will reveal that. So, we have to select what is important for us. If Krishna sees that our selection is for him, this is what Arjuna did. Arjuna did not opt for his Narayani Sena. Krishna says you can choose. So Kali Yuga, everyone is the follower of Duryodhana. They are thinking Narayani Sena, Krishna's energy I can enjoy. I will be better. But Arjuna chose Krishna. So Krishna removed all his impediments. उसका जितना भी संशय था भगवान ने क्या कर दिया, सब समाप्त कर दिया. ज्ञान दीपेन भास्वता, by this knowledge of Bhagavad Gita. Okay. Hare Krishna. I'll stop here. It is getting late. Thank you very much. And we will continue. Next week I'll be coming, but after that I'll be traveling. Yeah. So we will begin the 8th chapter in the next session. Thank you very much. Bhagavad Gita ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. Very important is you should, if you really want to taste Krishna consciousness, must chant. And there is no problem of time. Krishna has given 24 hours to everyone. Not a second less, not a second more. But if you chant and you become pure, you will see there is sufficient time. Sufficient time. Live example is in front of you. He is doing all his duties. Not only he, there are so many others. But at least one person, we need a role model, na? Because our mind is so prominent, our mind is so dominant, it does not allow us to do what is actually beneficial for us. That is why Krishna said the greatest enemy you have is your mind. Don't listen to your mind. Okay, thank you very much. Some students are less today. You are not knowing who are less. Huh?
They were busy in some work.
Is there anything more important than the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita in life? This understanding will take, that is why Krishna says, Bahunam Janma Naam Ante. This understanding will come after many, many births. Many, many births. It's not easy. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.